The first question is, how are you and how have you been over the last 6 weeks with the football kind of ending suddenly and fairly unexpectedly?
Yeah, I've been okay. Having to really be very careful, me and my son. So we're sort of keeping ourselves away from the rest of the world. Try to just do things normal, get out for a bit of exercise once a day. He's been cycling a lot, and I've been trying to join him on the cycle rides, but I'm not as young as I used to be. But no, listen, as you said, you sort of get into a sort of routine. Plenty of Zoom meetings, plenty of chatting going on behind the scenes, and but yeah, it's tough, but it's okay.
Yeah,
things are alright.
I suppose we got the news fairly recently that the season was officially ended. Up until then, had you been keeping in regular contact with the players? Did they have their own kind of training programs to do in their own time?
Yeah, we sent out a very, very detailed training program for the guys to do, both for being outside and working, and also inside and doing core circuits and things like that. So they got their program sent out very early. To be fair, Laurie put together a very good one, and they had that. So they've been, or they should be doing their program. Yeah, just behind the scenes, we've been just chatting and working away. But the players themselves, and when the news come that the season was ended, it's obviously very, very frustrating and disappointing. But there's bigger things at play right now that we need to be very, very mindful of.
No, definitely. I suppose some of the disappointment will come from that unknown that we were on a good run. We were potential to get into the playoffs. It was certainly looking more likely as the weeks were going on. And I suppose now you'll never know. But as you say, that there's bigger things come into play and more important things. But is there a frustration and disappointment from that perspective?
There was. I think we'd all worked so hard. The players especially had worked so hard to put themselves in such a good position. We just about a quarter of the season left, and we're giving ourselves a real opportunity again in the playoffs. And it was frustrating. But as you said, there's bigger things happening right now that we need to be mindful of. But on a football side of things, we were a wee bit disappointed, and I thought the team they were doing really well. They only had 1 defeat in 10, and they certainly climbed that league very, very quickly.
And I know you've only been in a relatively short space of time, but how do you assess your time so far since January through to March?
Yeah, it went quite quick. There was a lot of work, not a lot of work to be done, but we put a lot of work in. We had to go and recruit some players in January just to give the squad a wee boost and a freshness. As I said, I think the players have done great. They gelled so quickly. The people we brought in worked so hard alongside the players that were already there, and it has went quick. And as you said, it's just disappointing how it ended. But as far as it's went since January, I think everything went really smoothly. The performances were very good, and as I said, the main objective for us was to make sure we climbed away from that bottom zone, which we did, and to get ourselves into the position. I think we were sitting third in the league before the week before the season ended there. So, boys have done great since we come in.
Obviously, since January, I presume the preparation work was ongoing for the rest of this season, but would have already been focusing on next season. How does that pan out for you now, given that next season is, well, as it stands, we don't know when football will return. I suppose there's still a level of work that you need to do to plan, but how difficult is that for you at present?
Yeah, it's extremely tricky at the moment for many different reasons. We don't know when the season's going to start. We don't know when pre-season's going to start. We don't know what league we're going to be in. We don't know for sure exactly how the model is going to be going forward. Everything's sort of up in the air at the moment, and because of that, it just makes recruiting. It makes it difficult. And coming on at the end of June, there's going to be a lot of football players in Scotland who will be in the same boat, asking questions, what the next step is. And until we get some clarity from the governing bodies, I think every club will be in a similar situation to us. But that hasn't stopped us from doing a lot of working behind the scenes recently. We've been working extremely hard. I think it's important to have your plan in place for when things do start. And when we do get the go-ahead, hopefully that's sooner rather than later. But me and my team and the club have been working extremely hard behind the scenes to put a model in place so we can go out there and make sure that we can get the right people to join the club and build a squad.
That's excellent. And if you don't mind, I'll just move on to some of the questions that the fans have submitted. First of all, we've got one from Charles Conley on Instagram who's asking, how happy have you been with the performance of the team since you came in January?
Yeah, I've been very happy. As I said, we come into a tough situation. We had to start winning games. I think that was very important. We had to do that very quickly. We had to start putting points on the board. The team done that. Their attitude has been fantastic. Mm-hmm. If you go back to the Edinburgh City game when they come out at half-time and won the game, that showed a real character, and I think that game really set them up for the season because, in football things can go against you. It happened to get against Albion Rovers, and again the team come right back out and made sure they got something out of the game. So, as in terms of performance, we always strive for perfection, but. I think the players got to take a lot of credit for what they've done in that period of time since we come in.
Definitely. And next up is from Joseph on Instagram, and he's asking, he acknowledges that you've made the fans feel very welcome and instilled a confidence in them, and he's asking what your ambitions are during your time at the club.
Oh, right. Difficult one. You know what? Short term, as I said, I'm completely honest. The short-term goal was to make sure that we climbed away from that bottom of the league. And as the games went on and we started, winning games and moving up the league, the ambition changed slightly within the season, and we started looking at the playoff spots. And it was great. The hard work the players put in to get us into third in the league at that point was fantastic, and their effort has been great, and so the ambition there had definitely changed from staying in the league to possibly getting into the playoffs and giving ourselves an opportunity to try and get promoted. Unfortunately, it's been taken away from us, which was, as we've spoke about, it's quite disappointing. But very, very pleased with the guys and from what they've done from January onwards.
Excellent. The next one's from Charlie Whelan, who's sent the question in via Instagram, and he's asking, what were the factors that made you join the club? He acknowledges obviously your experience at a higher level, and he's asking what made you join Queen's Park.
To be fair, when I spoke to the board and they outlined how they seen the club moving forward and what they wanted to achieve for the club, obviously they went from amateur to professional. And it was, for me, it was very exciting to be part of that. They have ambitions for the club moving forward, good ambitions, I must say, which is important because when you go into a job, you want to make sure that you have the tools and people alongside you have got the same vision. And the club are fantastic. They sold it really well to me where they want to take the club. It'll take a few years. There's a plan in place. It's not short term. It definitely has a framework of time within it. But certainly the club's got ambitions, and that really inspired me to take up the challenge because the club have that ambition. It's a great project for me to be part of, and if we can do what we are planning to do, it should be exciting times ahead for Queen's Park.
Excellent. Their questions looked forward. There's now a few questions for the fans that are asking you to look back on your career. First of all, one from Ross Laird, who's asking, as a player, your favourite ground to have played at, and as a manager, your favourite ground to visit, if you've got them?
I'm having to go back a few years to when I played. That's a difficult one. Favourite ground, obviously I spent a lot of time playing football at Tannadice as a young kid, growing up there through the ranks. I was a young boy at 9 when I started out there. So it was always great to go and play on Tannadice. Even I've been back there for 2 spells. That was fantastic. I played most everywhere in Scotland. But I remember when I went down to England when I was 21, and I remember standing in the tunnel at Stamford Bridge, and just that summer we'd been over in Canada, and we played Chelsea. Dundee United played Chelsea in a charity match, and I was playing against Dennis Wise, and about 3 months later I was down at Stamford Bridge standing in the tunnel with him. We were having a laugh, but when we walked out there, the place was It was jam-packed, and I remember thinking, yeah, this is a bit special. So I would probably say that was one of my really good memories. And then as a manager, obviously, I've had some really good nights as a manager and things like that. But I remember when we were manager at Brecon, and we played Rangers on opening day of the season. And I can't remember, was it 2013 or 14? And it was a gloriously summer's day, and there was 52,000. And, I think we got beat 4-1 that day, but I'll never forget it. The atmosphere, again, was electric. And I remember Andy Jackson's brother Stephen scoring an overhead kick that, any top striker in the world would have been proud of. So, yeah, I think that was one of the highlights, that sort of atmosphere. But I've had lots of good memories as a manager, I've got to be honest.
Brilliant. The next question, there's two similar questions come in, and they're asking you to give us a wee insight into your first impression of Brian Clough from your time at Nottingham Forest.
It's having to think back on that one. It was different. I just sort of left. I'd left Dundee United. Jim McLean is the manager, and he was the polar opposite of Brian Clough. So when I went down there, it was a bit of an eye opener to, just how he went about things and his demeanour. And you've probably heard all the stories. He does things so differently, And for me personally, to come away from a manager who was completely strict and standards, to go down there and it was a lot more relaxed and free flow, and it was a bit of an eye opener, and it did catch you by surprise. But unfortunately, that year down there, when I spent it down there, that was probably his last year in management, and I probably didn't get to see the best of him, to be honest. I've got some great stories that are probably not good for this interview, but yeah, he certainly was a character, and over that last year when we saw him, you can see. I'll tell you one thing, when he was still in charge, one thing I did realise, that he kept everything very simple. It was just very, very simple. If you're good at something, do it. Keep the ball, pass it to somebody in the same colour. It just, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it actually makes sense. And if your role going on that park, and if you were a box-to-box player, you got to go box-to-box. And so, yeah, he probably was a genius. I got just a little bit of him right at the end there, but yeah, he was a very good character, and what he achieved in the game was incredible.
Excellent. We're on to the last few questions. Next one's from Graham Shields, who's asking, as a player, who was the best manager he played under?
Yeah, I would have to say, again, Jim McLean. When I look back, he was just miles ahead of his time. There's no doubt about it. What he achieved at Dundee United is absolutely incredible, and I don't think, along with Alex Ferguson at the time, they were unbelievable. He was fantastic, and he had a certain way of getting the best out of people, and I don't know if that sort of the way he would go about it nowadays would be acceptable, but he was an incredible manager, and he certainly got the best out of me when I played him. And he's done that for a lot of players. The amount of players that have come through under him is quite incredible. But yeah, and as I said, when you leave that environment and that sort of manager, and you go away and you meet other managers that do it completely differently, i.e. Brian Clough, who probably was a polar opposite and had equally probably better success than Jim McLean. Well, he definitely did in terms of European Cups and that. But also Willie Miller. I remember when I joined Aberdeen, and I played against Willie and Alec McLeish and that, but I was expecting something completely different, and he was not what I expected. I thought he was a fantastic manager, and so I've got huge respect for Willie Miller and how he approached the management side of things. And obviously Jim McLean, I think there's undoubtedly he was probably one of the best managers that's ever graced Scottish football.
And then our penultimate question comes from Graham's wife, Lorna, who's asking what you miss most from your playing days.
Oh, playing, being able to run. As you get older, and even in training and when you get older, you think you can still take part and still run as quick as you did when you were 21. But unfortunately, that's you just can't do it anymore. But yeah, I miss playing so much. I try and get involved as best I can in training, little bits at the start, just the boxes and that, and just to get a kick of the ball, and just being part of the team, going out and playing on a Saturday, having that thrill, that excitement, that adrenaline. And obviously, I'm very fortunate that I still get them highs and them lows being a manager. And you know, I think if they ever go, I think I'll really struggle on a Saturday. And but yeah, probably playing that for any young kid, play as long as you can, because you'll certainly miss it when it goes.
And then just lastly, before we round it off, it's not so much a question, but a point from Alison Connor, who is a Queen's Park from Dundee, who's asking if you would give consideration to joining the QP branch of the Dundee branch of the QP Supporters Club, because they're keen to expand their membership, which stands.
Wait a minute. There's a branch in Dundee I don't know about.
There's two supporters.
The Queen's Park branch.
There's Alison Connor and Michael Higgins, who will probably be happy enough to get mentioned here, that follow the club home and away every single week. Oh,
fantastic. Oh, well, you just tell me where it is and I'll be down to meet them, and we can certainly have a chat about Queen's Park. Just a wee thing. Just stay safe, everybody. Keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully we'll all get back to football sooner rather than later.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ray.